That is awesome.
That is great.
I'm picturing Fred in an all-white suit.
Or a leisure suit.
That is awesome.
With a John Travolta wig on.
What a great intro song. So that is Disco Lucy. It says pop culture reached its peak in disco in 1977, and with that came the remake of theme songs, right? That is crazy.
But it's dead now, right?
It's dead.
It's dead.
We think
Right,
officially.
it's dead.
But I love disco. I liked disco.
We do
I'm
think.
Nancy Zimmerman.
I'm Martha Green.
Hey, this is Rob Spalding, and we love
We
Lucy.
love Lucy.
Yes, and this is episode 4.
Yeah.
That was fun. You know what? We've had a lot of fun just looking up the different versions of the ringtone versions and all that. And we're going to, as we go in future episodes, we're going to be playing a lot of those. Yeah. You know, and why not shoot for the middle? We've kind of maybe reached the bottom of the barrel with Disco Lucy,
have
but that's
jumped
pretty
the
awesome.
shark.
No. Well, I understand I'm outvoted, but I enjoy disco. There's something about the beat of the disco, and you know, I did a show on music of the 70s. It was only around for 2 or 3 years. It was not a long. It just seemed like it took I mean, you think of the decade of the 70s and you think disco.
I was in a band then. I have a totally different perspective.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on karaoke.
There's,
Why, let's let the drunks entertain themselves. Why hire live music? Guitar players took it tough in the discos.
Yeah.
Ching, 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 ching. That's all they
what
did.
is that, like
I
2
guess-
chords,
yeah,
3
I
chords,
guess,
stops?
Yeah.
But now there was wasn't it Gloria Gaynor? Wasn't she disco? Donna Summers? Weren't there some vocalists?
I will survive. Well, yeah, there were some vocalists,
sure.
but you know, and that was.
You're saying the music itself. It was not a.
It wasn't music's finest decade.
Okay. But it was great to dance to.
I mean, it's got its
I like
place
the
in
beat,
history.
Yeah.
Got its place in history, but
It's all perspective.
It's all a perspective.
That's funny. But it's like
So
anything
when I
else,
go to
right?
one of your gigs, Martha, you're telling me I'm not going to hear any disco.
No. Highly, highly unlikely.
Okay.
Now,
was
if you
this-
were down on it like a $20 bill or a $50 bill, I can probably guarantee you that I'll give it my best shot.
Okay.
There you go.
See, that's just.
Okay, we're all old enough to remember. This was amazing, wasn't it? At one point,
Okay. Well, it was for the movie, because of the movie.
yeah.
Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
And
But
this
I-
came out when I was a waitress, and this is all the kids played on the jukebox. I worked at a Pizza Hut, and you'd be bringing the... and it was just like...
Just bouncing right along.
If only I'd had roller skates.
Oh, how life would have turned out different.
Oh, I'd have broken hips long ago. This knee would have gotten fixed 40 years ago.
That is amazing. Actually, we were, because I was in high school when this came out. And we thought that was the most amazing thing ever. And there were like under 21 discos.
Yep.
And I'm guessing that was that way everywhere. I mean, they had under 21 discos. But we all wanted to be like John Travolta or that bunch of knuckleheads that he ran with.
Not all of us.
Yeah. I always marveled at that. Was the girl that he was fascinated with wasn't that attractive, really? And we just, I don't know. I guess it's all fantasy, isn't it?
It's all fantasy.
Yeah.
Smoke and mirrors.
Wow, what a way to start the show, right? Right. So how's it going?
Yeah, fine. Good.
Yeah, everybody's having a good week.
So far.
Good week.
Yeah. Yeah. What
I'm
we?
lying.
Oh yeah, we got in a conversation earlier about nursing homes,
Oh,
and
God.
not for any of us, of course, but how those things work, and that's a little bit crazy, kind of right on the
Stay
crazy train.
healthy. All I can tell you is stay healthy.
Well, and
Stay healthy.
And I think shows like this help add to the enjoyment of our life, add to the
Laughter, the
factor.
best medicine.
And yes,
Yeah.
it is. It really is.
Yeah, it
And
really is.
Internal aerobics.
Absolutely.
I'm going to live to
I
be
like
100.
Yes. You know, one thing that I love just about doing this show was it was kind of rewatching episodes of I Love Lucy or any old 50s television, and just kind of reliving it was I Love Lucy was through its run before I saw them, but then it was so big. One of us had this conversation, maybe I had this internally, but didn't we talk about the number of televisions sold skyrocketed because of I Love Lucy? There was so much talk about I Love Lucy, and
I don't remember having that discussion.
yeah, it was something like the number of televisions in the United States from before Lucy was introduced to the end of season 1 had like tripled or something, and because everyone was talking about I Love Lucy the next day.
It could have been. It could have been.
Yeah. I'll have to look that up. We'll look that up for the next.
Or maybe you dreamed it.
I could very well have.
Well, and now this will date me, but we got a television in 1952, and it stood about, what is that, about 5 feet tall, 4 feet tall, and the screen was maybe, a 12-inch screen, and I'm not sure what the rest of the apparatus
It
was.
had huge tubes.
Evidently, but because my dad, in 1952, to have a television, not many people did.
That's pretty good.
Not many people did. My sister, there's a picture of her in the playpen in front of the television, and so she was barely. I mean, she was young. She was born in 52, so this was maybe 53 because she was standing. So it might have been 53 that we got it. But yeah.
They were huge. I remember, this is interesting, but there was a kind of a weird intersection that I find myself at occasionally, an actual intersection with two streets, I guess. You guys looked at me like, was this a
intersection
in
life?
Crisis? Yeah. But I remembered the guy that used to come to our house to fix our television, and his... Right?
Did he keep the screwdriver?
Yeah. But we had a guy came, and it was at 19th and Central.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, yeah.
And it's still there today. I mean, it says something TV repairs. Of course, that building's been vacant now for decades, but isn't that interesting?
Was it McDuffie? McDuffie's TV? Insel Brick?
This guy's name was Ashby or Ashley, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. And he'd come to our house, I don't know, a couple times. I just remembered him because when you got a TV and the TV broke and you had a crisis, and that guy was he'd show up and he'd have a box. Remember that, full of tubes?
Oh,
and he'd replace the tube? Okay, I'm going to answer my own question here. In 1945, which is when TVs were introduced, there were less than 10,000 TV sets in the entire country.
Wow.
By 1945, less than 10,000 in the entire country. By 1960, there were 52 million sets. So, and a lot of them credit Lucy for that. And then by 1997, there were 220 million and climbing.
And now, how many do you have in your home? You have one in like every room, it seems like.
Well, and everything's kind of a TV. I mean, whether it's intended to or not, but everything's kind of a television. So
I have one TV that's not hooked into anything.
Oh, here we go. She's judging us. She's judging me that has maybe 5 TVs.
No, no. We were probably the first, when I grew up, we were probably the first family I knew that had a TV in the kitchen. And it had to be turned on it was small TV. It had to be my dad and his neighbor, his best friend who's a carpenter, made a corner cabinet that was big enough for the TV to sit on next to our table, so that there would be a place for the television.
And so you could watch TV
so we could
breakfast.
Watch the news at night.
Wow.
I don't think there was stuff on of a morning.
Do you remember the epitome that you knew you were rich or your neighbors were rich? When they had that console, they had the long console TV and you opened it up and it had a radio and a record player.
A turntable, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you were watching, was Walter Cronkite who you guys watched at night?
Yeah.
Uncle?
Yeah. Chet Huntley and David Brinkley.
There you go. Okay.
We were not a CBS Walter Cronkite. We were whatever. Chet
NBC,
Huntley,
I think.
Chet Huntley and David Brinkley.
Oh, yeah. You were those.
I liked
you were
Walter
that family.
Cronkite. I didn't care for Chet Huntley.
Yeah, no, we were a Walter Cronkite family, and we trusted Walter Cronkite.
Yeah.
No one called him fake news.
No.
Ever. He was Walter Cronkite, man. What are you going to do?
And when he took off his glasses.
Oh, it was serious.
Hey,
when the president died.
When President Kennedy died.
Yes. Which leads me to an interesting piece of artwork we have here in our studio.
Yes.
which is
OMG. It's can I buy that?
Which is quite literally.
Can I buy that?
It is a clown crying, holding a newspaper, and the newspaper says,
a Kennedy shot. It's President Kennedy
assassinated.
And the thing of it is, the background and the clown aren't that well done. They're very amateurish, but the newspaper looks like
it is amazing.
It's amazing, and that's the whole point of it.
And this thing is an oil painting. And what we did was, as a joke for the studio, we began collecting clown pictures because they're so hideous.
I was going to say, and there's now sitting around
they creep me out.
And then you get to this one that actually is artistic because it's so well done. The newspaper part.
Well, why don't
crazy?
we could put them up. That could be the Hall of Clowns down here.
We could.
I would like.
We
why
could.
Don't we? Why don't
and then
we?
It leads all the way down here to the palace.
There are some. Yeah.
The king of clowns. Yeah. He sits on a wax throne.
Yes. And it's getting hot.
You're telling me, kid.
You know, there are many politicians we could intersperse between there, and no one would ever understand that the pattern ever broke. It would be all clowns.
I mean, who really likes clowns? They're creepy.
Well, I don't know. I come from Vincennes, where Red Skelton got his start.
But that's different.
Well, they have a clown festival every July.
Where
I mean,
that's my vision of hell.
It is serious. My state farm agent became a clown as a Shriner in the clown,
Yes.
And he met a lady clown, and the two of them actually, I mean, they fell in love with each other, but they met at a clown and they got married at the Red Skelton Festival. No kidding.
One of my earliest memories is outside where I work, the library, when it was a Sears building, and they had a Shriners Parade going down.
Right.
And here was this old vintage antique, like Model T, and they're throwing candy, and a clown came up to my brother and I. Mm-hmm. And he started shaking my brother's hand and hopping up and down like, "Oh, you're strong," like he was. And I looked, and where his sleeve met his glove, I saw flesh.
It was flesh, so they're real humans under there.
After he left, I told my brother, "Mike, did you see that? Did you see that? He had human skin." We thought clowns were born like that. They were all white,
Wow.
He had human skin.
Wow.
OMG.
I'm not sure what that says about you,
How old were you?
or the clown or your brother.
I was probably second
23.
Yeah. I've got the greatest. We have a mutual friend. We have a mutual friend named Rick, who was a pastor, and he was a worship pastor. And there was a member of our church who was a guy that led support groups for depression, because he always was depressed, and he was a very sad guy. And he decided, as part of his I know, right? Nancy's losing it already. As part of his therapy, he would become a clown, and became the worst clown in the history of what, clowndom? Because and it was so different than his actual personality. So he would try to clown, but the whole time it was, "Hey, here's some candy," So Rick started calling him Melancholy the Clown, because he was just so bummed out. Anyway, so this guy who had this long journey chose to be buried in his clown outfit and all the makeup. And our friend Rick tells the story. He officiated this guy's funeral, and he said that he didn't get there till the day of the funeral, and that he's walking down the aisle towards the casket, and he says all you see is a red nose sticking up.
How did they close the casket with those big shoes?
Exactly. Right. This thing writes itself. But he tells the best story ever. In fact, when you see him, ask him about that, because it's the funniest story I've ever heard in my life. Oh, yeah.
So when they closed the casket on the nose, did it beep? Like,
yeah. Exactly. Isn't that hilarious? How did we get off on clowns? It was Red Skelton we got off.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm in Gatlinburg a few weeks ago. And we
nice
go to this,
segue.
Yeah. No. This is going to make sense. So we're in Gatlinburg, and
nothing else we've said so far has.
Right. This is a long setup. But anyway, we went into, there's like a strip mall where they've got like outlet stores and stuff, and there was one that had an advertisement in the window for this Red Skelton impersonator. And so as we're going and as we walk by, the door flies open and the guy says, come on in. So we just kind of naturally just stepped in. And there were like his DVDs and posters and stuff everywhere. And he's talking. I knew immediately he was a Red Skelton impersonator. So he's talking to my wife, and she kept saying, you just seem so familiar to me. I don't know how I know. This guy was so good, looked like him, sounded like him, everything. It was just amazing.
And may God bless.
Yes, that's right. Anyway, so when you're in Gatlinburg, check that out. He's actually very good.
If you do not have coulrophobia, which
Yes,
is
yes.
the fear of clowns.
Yes.
Well, and Lucille Ball worked with Red Skelton in one of the when they were in Alaska in one of the later.
Oh, you're right. One of the
episodes.
Lucy
So he was
Desi
on-
comedy
yeah,
hours.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. He has been on. I don't think he was on any of the I Love Lucy episodes that I'm aware of. But
You're right. He was in that. Yeah. Huh. That's funny.
So
we got off.
that helps us get back to Lucy.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing us back on the subject because we got off onto some rabbit trails there. So that is
But
great
it's fun.
stuff.
It's always fun. We have a good time together.
Absolutely. So those of you who are at home picturing what the studio looks like, pictures of clowns and bad pictures
And
of
a
clowns.
lovely, it's an angel on a beautiful white stallion.
What would you?
I think it's an angel fairy.
Angel fairy.
It's a
Art Deco.
It is an Art Deco lamp,
but the lamp part, the shade is gorgeous.
I
It
love
looks
that
like it
shade.
came from a Victorian bordello.
yes, yes.
And
we all know what a Victorian bordello would look like because that lampshade is it.
yeah,
And then beneath it is a white stallion and an angel
with a rose.
holding a rose, and there's clouds. I just noticed there are clouds under it, so that's
Oh, I
makes
thought
it-
that
makes-
was snow.
makes it even more.
She's standing on snowballs.
Maybe I don't know. I'm guessing it's a clown.
It does kind of look like cotton balls.
When we were putting this stuff together, we literally looked for the worst and the ugliest stuff we could find, and then we would sit in here and laugh at the clown pictures and the.
And then on the other wall,
sculpture.
my personal favorite, a Jolly Roger.
It's a Jolly Roger.
Skull and crossbones.
Yes, flag.
Yo ho,
Yeah.
Madison Heights.
And that is
73.
if you listen to the Rowdy Radio Network, and you go to the app, the Rowdy Radio app, to listen to our shows and things like that with your phone, it's a Jolly Roger, Skull and Crossbones.
I feel at home.
You do feel it, yes, because you were a pirate,
Arr.
both pirates.
I was the yo ho they always talked about.
Yes, the ho part.
Yo ho ho.
Yo ho ho.
You were like 19 minutes into this thing, and I don't ever think we've even got to any. points
Lucy
at all,
was a
have we?
clown, Lucy herself.
Yeah.
She was.
Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
I was going to say she did some clown things with Red Skelton on his show.
Right.
She did some clown things with Chico Marx. She did.
Oh,
Oh, that's
yeah.
right. Yeah.
Harpo.
Harpo, they did
the
And,
famous mirror
California.
in California.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so there's some tie-ins. We're not way off base.
So when did again getting us off on another rabbit? But when did Red Skelton? When did his show on? That was the 60s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probably middle 60s.
Probably.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. That was a big
And he
stuff.
had, God, how many characters?
Yeah.
Clem Cadiddle Hopper, George Appleby,
He had
about that one.
Junior.
the
He
Mean
had-
Whittle Kid,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Junior. He had Deadeye.
Deadeye was
He had I should know this because of course he had Freddie the Freeloader.
Freddie the Freeloader.
Cauliflower McPug. The
That was
boxer.
the
oh,
boxer,
that's,
yeah.
Who else there were called? Oh, and then the pigeons. Hermione.
Oh,
Hortense and
Gertrude and Heathcliff.
Gertrude and
Gertrude and
Heathcliff. Okay, yeah, and there were a couple more, but I don't have them off
Yeah.
the top of my
Two
head.
seagulls.
Yeah.
Gertrude and Heathcliff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was so funny. Everything you ever heard or read or ever knew about Red Skelton, he was like a great guy. Everybody, he was loved by everyone, and he was a Hoosier.
And he had
He
a rough. Yeah, he was born in Vincennes, raised in Vincennes. Had a rough beginning.
Maybe he's in that coloring book.
He's actually. I've got a book called Clowning Around. that
Oh,
I've,
there you
I've written.
see.
It's being illustrated now. So yeah.
You and your books.
Yeah.
Well, tonight we're looking at. This is our episode 4. It's also is this episode 3 or episode 4 of Lucy? It's called
Episode
The Diet.
4.
It's called The Diet. And like last week, we compared Be a Pal and Be a Pal to Your Husband, the 2 episodes between I Love Lucy and My Favorite Husband, essentially the same writers, a lot of the same things, so they were a lot of borrowed scripts and things. And if you had a chance to listen to that, you really saw a lot of similarities, but they were both very funny in their own right, very clever. There were just enough differences to certainly make it worth your investment. And the same thing tonight. So this is The Diet. I Love Lucy is called The Diet, and My Favorite Husband, it's called Overweight. And again, very similar borrowed scripts and everything, but it's very, so we'll have both of those tonight. We'll go through some clips of the I Love Lucy, and then we'll play the My Favorite Husband episode at the end of this.
Okay.
So, okay?
Sounds good.
So what I wanted to do is I want to set this up. It's right after dinner. We're in the Ricardo's apartment, and the foursome they're talking. So here we go.
Can't help it. Eating's my hobby. Yeah, you ought to watch that, Ethel. Of course, it doesn't matter what I eat because it doesn't go to fat.
What does it go to? Thin?
For your information, lover boy, I weigh exactly the same as I did when we were married. Well, I do.
Oh, come now, Lucy. Ethel and Fred and I have all admitted that we're getting a little fat. A little puffy, perhaps. Now, why don't you break down and admit it, too?
Well, I'd be very happy to join your tubby little trio if it were true, but it isn't. Oh, Lucy, you're among friends. Let's be honest. I am honest. When Ricky and I were married, I weighed 110, and I weigh exactly that right now.
We shall see.
Now, don't bother getting those bathroom scales. They're broken.
I fixed them this morning.
Oh. Anyway, I'm getting a little bored with this discussion, aren't you? No. Oh, whose side are you on, anyway? I'm on the side of Ricky and his puppy pal.
Okay, on the scale, champ.
This I gotta see.
Come on the scale.
No, you're the one
Come
that...
on, on the
now,
scale.
Ricky.
On the scale.
All right. How much do I weigh?
45 pounds, and stop leaning on us.
Okay. 132. On behalf of our tubby trio, I welcome you to our flabby foursome.
So there's our setup.
There's our setup.
All right?
Yep.
So then as the show unfolds, we get a phone call.
Anyway, I'm getting a little bored with this discussion, aren't you? No. Oh, whose side are you on, anyway? I'm on the side of...
You are, just now.
You wouldn't?
No, I like you plump. I didn't mean it like that. I mean, you look swell.
I'm not worried about you, but how am I going to look on the stage?
The stage?
Yes.
Oh, no, you're not going to start that again, are you?
Oh, I know. You don't want me in show business, but someday, in spite of you, opportunity will knock. And what'll happen? I'll be so big and fat, I won't be able to get up and open the door.
Oh, honey, forget it. You look wonderful. Hello. Hi, Jerry. What? Oh, this is a fine time. What am I supposed to do, dance by myself? Okay. Well, look, try to get some girls lined up, and we'll have auditions in the morning. Goodbye. Oh, hello, Jerry. Hello. Listen, Jerry, what was the size of the new costume you just bought for Joanne? Well, get girls that size. Goodbye.
What's the matter, Ricky?
Joanne is quitting.
Who's Joanne?
Oh, that's terrible.
Who's Joanne?
At a time like this, though.
Who's Joanne?
Why did she quit?
Who's Joanne?
She's getting married.
Who's Joanne? She's the girl that dances with Ricky.
Now, what was I doing wrong?
Now I gotta find a girl who can sing and dance and teach her the number by Saturday night.
Da-da-dee-da-dum, da-da-da-doo-doo-doo.
Can't think of a soul. Lucy, will you stop that racket and let me think? What are you so fidgety about? Your girdle too tight?
No, I was just about to suggest that in this very room there's a very pretty and talented young lady who is a wonderful singer and dancer.
Who? Ethel?
Who? Ethel? No, not her. Me.
Oh.
Oh, Ricky, this is a wonderful chance for me. I know the number. I can take Joanne's place, please.
No, that's out of the question.
Well.
No, Lucy, you can't be in the show.
I was going to say, starting in episode 4, we get already she's trying to get in the show.
She's dying to get into the act, right? So what happens? She shows up at the rehearsal, right?
It doesn't. That's one thing that doesn't play too well on the radio because it is one of her. I would say it's probably one of her most recognizable clips, simply because it is on Facebook now, and it goes around and it says, "This is what I probably look like at Zumba," and it has that, and it shows her where she's she's rolled up her pants legs. She has taken her sweater because there's all the girls there are dressed a little more scantily, or at least scantily for the 52,
right?
Than she is. So she's pulled her sweater down so her shoulders are exposed, and and she is trying to make herself look more showgirl-like, but
more like the women that are there. Let me play
Right.
this clip. This is her meeting them for the first time.
Okay.
Pardon me, but is this where Ricky Ricardo's auditioning girls for the dance? Yeah, honey, but if I'd known he wanted older women, I'd have brought my mother. Pay any attention to her, honey. I guess we're all auditioning for the same part, huh?
Can I give you a tip?
Oh, yes.
I've known Ricky Ricardo for a long time.
Oh?
You're not his type.
That's a great scene.
Yeah,
isn't
it
it?
is.
She's that kind of vampish, that and then at that point, that's when Lucy decided
Yeah.
to pull her, show her shoulders and all that, and then that great routine is they're all going one direction, she's going the other direction. So ultimately, now how did she get back in? How did she get in that show? I was trying to remember.
Well, that whole on a diet, she tries on the outfit, the costume, and she splits the seams because after this tryout, and so she begs Ricky if she can get into the costume, can she dance? And
She
promises.
can be in the show.
Yeah, she can.
yeah.
And he pretty much easily says yes because he doesn't think she's going to be able to lose like 10 pounds in
Right.
5 or 6 days.
Right.
It's just like the very next week. So that was how she got in the show. But then the rest of the show talks about and shows how she tries to lose weight.
Okay, and she gets her weight down, gets in the costume.
Yeah.
And
But
then
the one thing before she gets in the costume, and one of them, they're all eating steak, but she's eating celery. There is the Mertz's dog, Butch.
Oh yeah, that's a great scene.
Who knew? Who knew they had a dog?
I never there.
Fred doesn't
that
seem like a
is-
dog guy, does he?
No. But that is the only time I recall that there was ever an animal.
I think you're right.
I mean,
I
a
don't.
domestic.
I don't ever recall. In fact, until you brought that up, I don't even remember there ever being a pet.
Yeah, because it's
I'm sure
like-
there was a neighbor's pet or something along the way, but
Yeah,
that's
but
the
that
Mertzes
was-
of
yeah.
all people.
Yeah.
Well, unless it was a bulldog, because
Yeah.
they say you look like your pets, or
And
your
that
pets
would
look-
be-
and
And this one
Fred.
was, yeah. And this one was more like a bingy, scruffy
Yeah.
little dog. So.
That is awesome. Well, then there's the great scene at the end where she and Ricky do kind of a classic number together, and I'm going to end on that. Is that
Okay,
okay? And
that
so
sounds great.
and then we'll fade to this, and then what we'll do is after we play the song, we'll play the episode of My Favorite Husband called Overweight, where this originally came from. So we'll play this last piece, and then we'll go right on into the My Favorite Husband from May 6, 1949, Overweight. It's Lucille Ball and Richard Denning.
Oh, Richard.
like the beat. Take a lesson from Cuban Pete, and I'll teach you to chick-chicky boom, chick-chicky boom, chick-chicky boom. See, señorita, I know that you will like the chicky boom chick, 'cause it's the dance of Latin romance, and Cuban Pete doesn't teach you in a hurry like Castle Mary. I come from Havana, and there's always mañana. So, señorita, oh no.
They call me Sally Sweet. I'm the queen of Delancey Street. When I start to dance, everything goes chick, chicky, boom, chick, chicky, boom.
Ay, 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 ay.
Excuse me, Mr. Pete.
Yes, ma'am.
Have the Cubans a different beat? If they have, will you teach me to chick, chick, chicky, boom, chick, chicky, boom?
See, señorita, I know that you will like the chicky boom chick.
Yeah, man.
It's very nice, so full of spice. I place my hand on your hip, and if you will just give me your hand, then we shall try, just you and I.
It's time for My Favorite Husband, starring Lucille Ball.
Hello, everybody.
Yes, it's the new Gay Family series starring Lucille Ball with Richard Denning. Brought to you by the Jell-O family of desserts.
J-E-L-L. Oh, the big red letters stand for the Jell-O family. Oh, the big red letters stand for the Jell-O family. That's Jell-O.
Yum, yum, yum.
Jell-O puddings.
Yum, yum, yum.
Jell-O tapioca puddings. Yes, sirree.
And now Lucille Ball with Richard Denning as Liz and George Cooper. Two people who live together and like it. As we look in on the Coopers tonight, a familiar scene is taking place. Company is coming to dinner, and Liz is cautioning George about the evening's entertainment.
George, the Atterberries will be here in a few minutes, so will you please raise your right hand and repeat after me? I, George Cooper,
I, George Cooper,
solemnly promise
solemnly promise
that after dinner tonight,
I
will not show my home movies.
I will not... Oh, no, you don't.
Oh, but George, they're so awful.
A lot you know. I'll bet if I entered my movies in a contest, they'd win a prize.
What for? The movie with the most people with their heads cut off?
Ah, you're clever.
You can't tell who's in your pictures unless you recognize their shoes.
That will do.
What did you use, a movie camera or a guillotine?
One more crack and I'll put you across my knee.
Well, George, I like the pictures. They mean something to you and me, but they're so boring to other people.
They are not. They happen to be educational.
Oh.
Now take Grand Canyon, for instance.
Oh, yes, pictures of the Grand Canyon in beautiful black and black.
Well, they were a little underexposed. I forgot what kind of film I had in the camera. Oh, what's so funny?
I was just thinking of the first day you had the camera and you held it backwards.
Well, forget it.
We had 100 feet of pictures of your right eye. Well, do me a favor, George. Promise me you won't show the movies unless the Atterberries ask you.
Okay. Not unless the Atterberries insist.
Good. Now raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, George Cooper, solemnly promise.
I, George Cooper, solemnly promise.
Wonderful meal, Liz.
Rudolph ate too much.
Never mind, Iris. You do a pretty good job with the knife and fork yourself.
Here, Mr. Atterbury, have the big chair, George's chair.
Oh, sure you don't mind, George?
No, I'll sit on this comfortable, straight-backed wooden one.
Well, what would you like to do this evening?
Oh, it doesn't matter to me.
Doesn't matter to me either.
I know what we could do.
Nobody asked you.
Liz, nobody can think of anything else to do. Has anyone any ideas?
No.
Then how about some home movies? How about
Let's
some
go to a
bridge?
movie. Picture golf is nice. See?
Well, it's a funny thing. No one could think of anything a minute ago.
Well, it was self-defense, George. Did I hear you suggest bridge, Mr. Atterbury?
Yeah.
Good idea.
But I don't like bridge.
Oh, you're just being a spoiled sport.
I am not. I don't like the way you play.
Well, how can you say that? We love the way Liz plays. Don't we, Rudolph?
Absolutely. Especially at a half a cent a point.
I don't blame you. Now, bridge is out. You know, I ran some of the old movies I took the other day, and there was
George, give up, will you? They don't want to see the pictures.
They do, too. They're just being polite. They're dying to see them.
We're dying to see them.
See? They insist.
Oh. Well, I'm afraid we're stuck.
Well, let's get it over with. What are you going to show, George?
The Grand Canyon.
I've been down that canyon so many times, I feel like a burro.
Let's get it over, George.
I'm all set. I had the projector set up before.
Sneaky.
I'll turn out the lights.
Okay, sneaky.
Now, wait till I get comfortable here. Oop!
Oh, Rudolph, did you throw something at me?
No, dear.
Well, something hit me.
It was a button popped off my vest.
Well, pull yourself together, Mr. Atterbury. Here we go. And, George, try not to get the picture upside down.
Don't worry, it isn't.
I knew it. There I go, walking across the ceiling. Liz Cooper, the human fly.
I don't understand it.
Fix it, George. The blood will all rush to my head.
Well, it'll just take a minute to turn the film over.
Don't waste the time. Let it run, and we'll stand on our heads to watch it.
Never mind the sarcasm. All right, I've got it. Here we go.
Well. Oh, now that's better. That's a beautiful picture.
Well, how did this happen? This is the tail end of the Grand Canyon pictures.
Too bad, boy.
Oh, but you missed the best part.
No, we didn't, George. The end is the best part. Turn on the lights, Iris.
No, wait a minute. There's some more spliced on here.
Isn't there some way you can speed it up, George?
Well, all right.
Oh, wait a minute. There's a picture of me. Slow it down, boys. Slow it down.
Well, there I am. My, these are old pictures. How long ago was that, Liz?
Oh, 6, maybe 7 years.
Hey, there's a good shot. All of us in our bathing suits.
I cut quite a figure, didn't I? Say, who's that? Iris, how'd you happen to let me talk to a young, slim creature like that?
Rudolph, that's me.
But it can't be. Look how thin... Oh, that was 7 years ago, wasn't it? Before inflation set in.
I don't pop my buttons.
Don't let them get your goat, Iris.
Liz, that redhead in the picture, the one with the beautiful figure. That isn't you.
Now, don't you start anything, George. Now, quit it. That was 7 years ago. It wouldn't be natural if I hadn't put on a little weight here and there.
Well, you haven't changed much here, but what a there you've put on. Hey, what did you turn the lights off for, Liz?
I can't stand looking at myself like I used to be. Stop the pictures, George.
Yeah, I think there's something wrong with them.
Let's face it, Iris. Who are we kidding? We deserve the ribbing we're getting from our husbands. It's our fault for letting ourselves slip.
Hear, hear. Never heard a woman say that before.
Good girl, Liz.
And you know what we're going to do, Iris? We're going to go on a diet the first thing tomorrow morning and get rid of this excess weight.
That's a deal.
Liz, that makes sense.
Starting tomorrow morning, no starches, no sweets, nothing fattening of any kind.
Right.
That's for tomorrow morning. Now, for tonight, let's go down to the drugstore and have a double hot fudge sundae.
Now, George, boy, watch me closely. You're one of the few men at the bank to share this secret with me.
Yes, sir.
Very well. Now you turn 3 to the right.
3 to the right.
4 to the left.
4 to the left.
You turn the handle. There. Now you know how to get a Coke out of the machine without putting in a nickel. Have a candy bar?
Yeah, thanks. You know, we should feel guilty. Standing here eating candy and drinking Cokes while our wives are sweating out a diet.
Oh, well, it won't last long. I don't think Iris will go through with it.
No, I don't think she will either.
What do you mean, you don't think she will?
Well, you said...
You do your talking about Liz. I'll take care of wrapping Iris.
Well, I just thought that Iris is older and has more weight to lose.
Now, just a minute. Iris may be a year or two older, but for a woman her age, she has a lot better figure than Liz.
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
Well, I would, and I just did.
Well, Liz could lose her extra weight in half the time it would take Iris. In quarter the time.
Why don't you put your money where your mouth is?
What do you mean?
We'll just weigh them in tomorrow, then at the end of a month, we'll weigh them in again. With the loser paying $5 a pound.
Oh, brother, Liz will win in a walk.
Then it's a bet, boy.
You bet it's a bet, boy.
What?
I mean, sir.
That's better. And one more thing. Just leave a nickel for that Coke you're drinking.
Yes. Liz?
Yes, dear?
How are you coming with your reducing, honey?
Oh, fine. I ate practically nothing today.
Good.
So I had to take this candy bar to keep up my energy.
Here, give me that thing.
Oh, well, you didn't have to throw it in the wastebasket.
Liz, from now on, I'm supervising your reducing. I've got a lot of training equipment here. A book of exercises, a rowing machine, barbells, and a jumping rope.
Who will I fight? Joe Louis retired.
Now, come on. We have no time to waste.
Why all this sudden interest?
Well, because I love you, dear. I want to be proud of you.
Why, George.
And besides, I bet Mr. Atterbury $5 a pound.
Oh, I might have known.
If I can get you down to 115, I'll stick him for $50.
Well, if it's money you're after, why bother with exercise?
What do you mean?
Just don't feed me. I'll bet you can get me down to 50 pounds, coffin and all.
Will you let me explain?
No, now I'm not going to reduce at all.
All right. Let Iris win.
I'm not going to starve. What's Iris got to do with it?
No, nothing.
What's Iris got to do with this?
Well, Mr. Atterbury said she had a better figure than yours.
Better than Why, she hasn't even got a figure. She has a size 18 lump.
Well, he thinks she can get into shape quicker than you can, so I bet him $5 a pound.
Well, split it with me?
It's a deal.
A week has gone by in the battle of Iris versus Liz, and Trainer George is putting his wife through a strenuous routine. She started the day out skipping rope.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
And as we see her now, she is still gaily skipping away.
98, 99, 2,000.
200.
I wonder if I could jump rope from a sitting position.
All right, Liz, that's enough rope skipping for today. Well, I guess we could stop for lunch.
Oh, lunch, food. Come on, George, let's run into the kitchen. What can I have? Something light like a cup of mayonnaise?
I prepared a delicious treat for you.
What?
Salad a la George Cooper.
Oh, where is it? Where is it?
Right there on the plate.
Oh, what is it?
A radish smothered in Chiron taffy.
Oh.
Besides, you only had breakfast 3 hours ago.
Some breakfast. You gave me a glass of orange juice and let me smell some oatmeal. Well, what do I get to drink with this nothing burger?
Well, I don't know. See, milk is too fattening.
Oh,
Coffee
sure.
with cream or sugar's out.
Oh, certainly.
Hot chocolate has too many calories.
I know what, George. How about a big glass of skim water?
Tubby, 2x4.
George Cooper, if you say that once again, Tubby's going to slug you with that 2x4.
Well, hurry up and eat your lunch. You have to go down to Dabney's Market and weigh in.
All right, but you better come along. I'll need someone to lift me up on the scales.
Come on, Liz, walk faster.
I thought I was running.
Well, what are you standing down there in the gutter for?
I'm gathering strength to climb onto the curb.
Come on now, it's just a couple of steps to Dabney's Market.
Oh, I feel so silly coming down to the meat market to get weighed every day.
Well, Atterbury and I agreed this was to be the official weighing machine.
Why don't you put a sign on me? Fillet of Liz Cooper, $5 a pound.
Go on, get on the scale and let's see how much you've lost.
Okay. George, I was afraid of this. I'm down to 0.
I haven't put the penny in yet. What does it say?
Let's see. 123. Oh, George, I've lost 2 pounds. Isn't that wonderful?
What's the score today, Mr. Cooper?
Oh, hello, Mr. Dabney. 123.
Good. How much you figure to trim her down to?
Well, I thought about 10 pounds off would do it.
No, too much. 7 is plenty. That tenderloin is lean, but she's pretty plump in the porterhouse.
Well, I never had any complaints about my porterhouse before.
I'll tell you what you do. Get rid of a couple of pounds of fat around the spare ribs, 3 more over the hocks.
Anything else?
Yeah, stick an apple in my mouth and shove me in the oven.
I sure would appreciate it if you could bring her in at 118, Mr. Cooper. That's the number I got in the pool.
Pool? What pool?
Oh, didn't you hear about it? Everybody in the neighborhood's in on it. Somebody got up a pool, and I drew you at 118.
Well, of all the nerve. Who would do a thing like that?
I don't know. But they're $1 apiece, and I got 2 numbers left.
Mr. Dabney, I'm ashamed of you. That's a terrible thing to do.
I know. I hated myself in the morning, but fortunately I sold most of the tickets the night before.
Oh, now you'll have to make a good showing, Liz. You're a public figure.
And speaking of figures, look who's coming. Your deadly rival, Mrs. Atterbury and his prize heifer.
Hello, Iris.
Oh, Liz. Have you been working as hard as
I know just how you feel.
Hello, Mr. Atterbury.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cooper, boy.
Are you going to weigh Iris?
I think we'll wait till you leave.
Well, if that's the way you feel.
Oh, wait a minute. Bad planning. Don't get off that scale, Liz.
Why?
Wait till Iris gets on, and then you get off. More economical that way.
Oh. Well, as long as it's our penny, I guess we have a right to see how much she weighs.
Iris.
Huh? Oh. 1, 2, 3, 4.
No. Well, get on the scale.
Oh.
Oh. Ah. Oh. Oh. 123.
Neck and neck.
Oh, no, it isn't. Iris started 2 pounds heavier than Liz, so she's ahead. Come on, Liz. We've got work to do. I'll run you home piggyback.
Oh, piggyback. Thanks, George. I couldn't have made it any other way.
All right. Turn around and I'll jump on your back.
Oh! Give me some more mashed potatoes, George, with lots of butter and a slice of banana cream pie. And then 2 more pieces of that fried chicken. It's good.
Liz, wake up. You're dreaming.
Huh? What? Oh, what did you wake me up for, George? I was just eating a big chicken dinner. Say, maybe it wasn't a dream. Where'd all these feathers come from?
Well, you ate half the pillow.
I thought it tasted sort of dry.
I was lying here trying to remember what we did today. We rode the bicycle, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Jumped rope.
Yes.
Rode the boat.
Yes.
Did we forget anything?
Yes, you forgot to beat me with a rubber hose.
What are you doing in the kitchen, Liz?
George Cooper, if that isn't the sneakiest, rottenest, low-down trick I ever heard of, putting a padlock on the icebox.
Iris, I've got terrible news. Liz is down to 120. She's a pound ahead of us.
I don't care, Rudolph. I'm too tired to care.
Now we've really got to knuckle down.
I bought a new book of exercises, and we're going to try some.
Oh.
Now, exercise 1. Place hands on hips and put your right leg straight out in front of you.
All right.
Now, holding this position, bring your left leg up even with your right leg. Oh, my mistake. You're supposed to be lying down when you do this exercise. Now then, flat on your back.
Yes, Rudolph.
Put your right leg straight up in the air. Good, good. Now put your left leg up even with it. Iris, put your left leg up. That isn't the silliest sight I've ever seen. She looks like a submarine.
Mrs. Cooper? Yes, Katie? Could I see you in the kitchen a moment? Can't we talk in the hall, Katie? I can't go into the kitchen. I'm too hungry. So this is rather confidential. All right. Oh, look at the devil's food cake with marshmallow frosting. Oh, you fiend.
That's for after the contest.
Oh, well, can't I just pat it a little? Oh, let me drag my finger through the frosting.
Mrs. Cooper, I was down to the market talking to Mr. Dabney. Are you listening?
Yes, you were down at the Marshmallow talking to Mr. Devil's Food. Oh, well, I'll hold my hand over my eyes. Go ahead.
Well, I have it fixed, so you're going to beat Mrs. Atterbury.
How?
Mr. Dabney showed me how to take off the back of the scale, and I can turn it to any weight I want.
But I don't see what...
This afternoon, when the final weighing is going on, I'll hide behind the scale. When I get through with Mrs. Atterbury, she'll weigh 300 pounds.
Katie, that's the sneakiest, crookedest, underhandedest trick I ever heard of.
Well, then I won't do it.
What's the matter? You crazy? I didn't say I didn't like it. Won't someone see you?
No. Mr. Dabney is going to put a big pyramid of canned goods behind the scale so no one will see me. All I have to do is make you weigh 118 so he wins the pool.
Oh, boy, give me that cake. I don't have to diet anymore.
Well, how about a glass of milk to go with it?
Yeah, a banana and fried potatoes and bread with lots of butter on it. And for dessert, butter with butter on it.
Here we are, Liz. Say, look at the crowd. Do you think they're here to see Iris and you?
I know they are. Look at that sign in the window. Today, 2 o'clock, the Battle of the Bulge.
Don't crowd, folks. Don't crowd. Plenty of room by the vegetable bin. Hey, don't sit on those artichokes.
Hello, Mr. Dabney.
Hello, Miss Cooper. Come on in. The Atterburys are waiting. Let us through, please.
Oh, here comes Liz now. Make it 120, Liz. I'll split with you.
Let us through, please.
Oh, pardon me, please. Hello, Mr. Atterbury. Hello, Iris.
Say hello, Iris.
Oh, well, don't wake her up just for that.
Hello, Mr. Atterbury.
Well, George, boy, I hope you brought plenty of money.
No, hold it. I got to make an announcement now.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. The Dabney Meat Market proudly presents a weigh-in for the World's Championship Reducing.
Oh, this is going too far.
In this corner, we're in blue tie. Dress. And don't you wish you knew how much? Mrs. Atterbury!
Well, I'm surprised you didn't charge admission, Mr. Dabney. You could have made a fortune.
Oh, I wouldn't stoop to that, Miss Cooper. But nobody got in here today who didn't buy a pound of salami.
I might have known. Well, let's get it over with.
Hold it. I have an important phone call to make. No, go ahead. I'll be right back.
Okay. Miss Cooper now stepping on the scales. Pennies by courtesy of Dabney's. And she weighs, when it stops, 118.
Oh, what a surprise.
Okay, who holds number 118? Step forward, please. 118. Oh, that's me. What a coincidence. Who threw that salami?
Wait a minute. That scale doesn't say 118. You
127.
What?
Wait, now it says 95.
Look, now it says 185.
Oh, there's something wrong with the scale. 180. What happened?
Hey, what's going on here?
Hey, what's going on under that pile of cans? It sounds like a fight.
Hey, someone's crawling out from under them. Katie!
Katie, what happened?
Oh, Mrs. Cooper, it's awful. There was someone else under there who wanted to make you weigh more.
No.
Yes, I've got a good mind.
Katie, don't knock the cans over.
Here, quick, help me lift these cans off.
Whoever's under there, it serves them right for cheating. We thought of it first.
Liz! Look who it is!
Mr. Atterbury.
You have been listening to My Favorite Husband, starring Lucille Ball with Richard Denning, and based on characters created by Isabel Scott Rorick. Tonight's program was produced and directed by Jess Oppenheimer, who wrote the script with Madeline Pugh and Bob Carroll Jr. Original music was composed by Marlon Skiles and conducted by Wilbur Hatch. The part of Katie the maid was played by Ruth Parrott. Lucille Ball will soon be seen in the Paramount picture Sorrowful Jones. Be sure to listen to Lucille Ball in My Favorite Husband next week. Bob Lamont speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
And that was My Favorite Husband in the episode Overweight from May 6, 1949. And this was episode 4 of We Love Lucy. On behalf of Nancy Zimmerman and Martha Baker Green, this is Rob Spaulding saying thanks for listening. See you next time, and God bless.